You've been broken before, haven't you? You've felt the weight of failure press against your chest. Nights where you stared at the ceiling, questioning your own worth. Mornings where the mirror reflected someone you didn't recognize. But listen to me. Broken doesn't mean finished. The scars on your soul are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you have survived battles others would have collapsed under. Life will strip you down. It will humiliate you. It will tear away everything you thought was secure. And in that emptiness, you have a choice. Stay shattered or rebuild. Rebuilding isn't about becoming who you used to be. It's about creating someone so unshakable that even the storms bow before your presence. Discipline, pain, and sacrifice are the bricks that will forge your new foundation. Every tear, every sleepless night, every ounce of doubt becomes fuel for your rebirth. You do not rebuild by waiting for mercy. You rebuild by taking control, by crafting a version of yourself so relentless that nothing and no one can ever break you again. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the person you were always meant to be. Pain is the foundation of transformation, because nothing in this life worth having is ever born out of comfort. Comfort is a lie that whispers in your ear, telling you that you can stay the same and still get everything you want. But comfort breeds weakness, and weakness kills dreams. Pain, on the other hand, is the harsh teacher that doesn't care about your excuses, your feelings, or your past. It forces you to look in the mirror and confront the truth about who you are. When life shatters your plans, when people betray you, when the world strips away everything you thought was safe, that pain is not your enemy. It is the breaking of the old version of you that was never meant to survive the storms of greatness. Pain destroys illusions, and in the ruins it leaves behind, you are left with the raw materials to rebuild yourself into someone unshakable. Every scar tells the story of a lesson learned. Every sleepless night becomes a silent rehearsal for strength. Every rejection fuels the fire of resilience. The people who try to avoid pain, who run from struggle, who drown themselves in distraction, never understand that they are rejecting the very process that would have made them powerful. If you want to rise, you cannot escape pain. You must embrace it. Pain will strip you down, tear apart your false beliefs, and drag you through the mud until you think you cannot take another step. But in those moments, you discover something extraordinary. You can. That realization changes everything. The version of you that thought pain was unbearable begins to fade, and a new version starts to emerge. A version that knows pain is not a punishment, but a forge. Steel is not made in silence. It is made in fire. Under heat so intense, it either breaks or becomes indestructible. You are no different. Every challenge you face, every heartbreak, every failure is the fire. And each time you endure it, you are hammered into a stronger, sharper weapon. Pain refines you in ways success never could, because success often feeds ego, but pain feeds discipline. Success makes you comfortable, but pain keeps you hungry. Success can lull you into complacency, but pain keeps you awake, alert, and alive. Most people pray for an easy life, but an easy life produces nothing. Do you admire people who had everything handed to them, who never fought, never bled, never sacrificed? Of course not. You admire warriors, those who walked through fire, those who faced pain and refused to bow. Pain forces growth because without it, you stay the same. Imagine the gym. You don't grow muscle without strain. You don't build endurance without exhaustion. You don't increase strength without resistance. Life is the same. Without the resistance of pain, you never discover how far you can truly go. Pain is proof that you are being tested, proof that you are alive, proof that you are being given the chance to rise. When you understand this, you stop asking, why me? And you start saying, try me. You stop crying over the weight on your shoulders and begin to carry it with pride, because you know each burden is reshaping you into someone who cannot be broken. Every time you are knocked down and you rise again, you are rewriting your story. Every time you endure what others could not, you separate yourself from the average. The average man collapses under pain, but the extraordinary man is born from it. The truth is, pain is the universal currency of greatness. Every leader, every legend, every champion you admire has paid in pain. They bled, they lost, they sacrificed, and through that, they gained what others could never touch. Pain is not optional. It is the price. But here is the secret. Most people will never tell you pain is temporary. Transformation is permanent. The suffering you feel today, the struggle that keeps you awake at night, the weight that feels unbearable, it will not last forever. But what will last is who you become because of it. Pain fades, scars remain, and those scars are proof of your transformation. One day you will look back at the very moments that almost destroyed you and realize they were the moments that rebuilt you. They were the chapters that defined you. They were the fire that forged your unbreakable spirit. Without them, you would still be soft, fragile, uncertain. With them, you would become a warrior. So stop running from pain. Stop treating it as an enemy. Start seeing it for what it really is, the foundation of transformation. Every struggle, every disappointment, every heartbreak is building you. The pain you feel today is carving out the space for the strength you will need tomorrow. The discipline born in pain will lead you to victories no comfort could ever provide. Embrace the suffering, hold it close, and let it shape you. Because on the other side of pain lies the version of yourself that you were always meant to be. A version that does not just survive, but dominates. A version that looks back at pain not with fear, but with gratitude. Because it was pain that made you unstoppable. Discipline is the weapon that rebuilds strength, because without it, pain becomes meaningless, sacrifice becomes wasted, and dreams remain illusions. Discipline is the force that takes all your suffering, all your failures, all your heartbreaks, and channels them into transformation. Without discipline, you stay trapped in cycles of weakness, promising yourself tomorrow will be different, but tomorrow never comes. Discipline is not about motivation, because motivation is fragile. Motivation dies when you are tired, when you are hurt, when life feels heavy. Discipline does not care how you feel. It is the iron rule you place upon yourself, the unbreakable law that says, I will do what must be done, whether I feel like it or not. Discipline is the silent strength that rebuilds you when your spirit is shattered. It is the armor you wear when life attacks. It is the sword you wield against laziness, distraction, and weakness. Without discipline, you will always be at the mercy of your emotions, and emotions will betray you every time. Discipline is the structure that gives meaning to your struggle. Pain will knock you down, but discipline forces you to rise. Pain will tempt you to give up, but discipline commands you to keep going. Pain will scream that you are finished, but discipline whispers, one more step. That is how strength is rebuilt. Not in moments of inspiration, not when it is easy, but when it is hardest, when every part of you wants to stop, yet you continue because you made a decision long before the pain arrived. The strongest men in history, the ones who built empires, who conquered fear, who overcame impossible odds, were not driven by fleeting bursts of motivation. They were governed by relentless discipline. They understood that discipline is not punishment, it is power. Think of your life as a battlefield. Every day there is a war inside you. One side wants comfort, laziness, weakness. The other side wants power, greatness, victory. If you fight with motivation alone, you will lose. But if you arm yourself with discipline, you win battles no one else can fight. Discipline makes you wake up when you are tired. Discipline makes you train when your body aches. Discipline makes you work when everyone else is celebrating. It is the weapon that ensures you do not just recover from pain, but rise stronger than before. Without discipline, every setback becomes a defeat. With discipline, every setback becomes training for the war ahead. People often say discipline feels like a cage, but that is because they have never tasted its freedom. Weak men are slaves to their impulses, chained by their distractions, prisoners of their emotions. They call it freedom, but in reality, they are trapped by their own lack of control. True freedom is born from discipline, because discipline gives you command over yourself. When you control yourself, nothing controls you. The man with discipline cannot be broken because he refuses to surrender to the chaos of feelings. He operates with clarity, consistency, and power. He rebuilds his strength not by accident, but by design. Strength is not rebuilt overnight. You don't wake up unbroken because time passed. You rebuild strength brick by brick, habit by habit, sacrifice by sacrifice. And discipline is the mason that lays those bricks. It is what makes you keep showing up when the results are invisible, what keeps you moving when the reward feels far away. Discipline is what takes you from broken and weak to unstoppable and feared. It does not happen with bursts of effort. It happens with consistency, with repetition, with the daily refusal to quit. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you sharpen the blade of your strength. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you add steel to your foundation. And one day, the world looks at you and wonders how you became so unshakable, but you will know the truth. You built it in silence through discipline. Discipline is also the greatest equalizer. You may not be the strongest, the fastest, the most talented. You may not come from wealth, privilege, or opportunity, but discipline does not care about your starting point. It only cares about your decisions. The disciplined man beats the talented man when talent sleeps. The disciplined man outlasts the rich man when wealth fades. The disciplined man dominates the gifted man when gifts are wasted. Discipline rebuilds strength because it turns ordinary men into extraordinary warriors. So understand this. You will not rebuild yourself through comfort. You will not rebuild yourself by waiting for motivation. You will not rebuild yourself by wishing life was easier. You will rebuild yourself through discipline, the unbreakable commitment to act despite the pain, despite the fear, despite the doubt. Discipline is the weapon in your hand when the world tries to break you. Discipline is the shield that guards you against weakness. Discipline is the fire that forges strength in the ruins of your past. If you want to rise, if you want to rebuild, you must make discipline your closest ally. Because when pain strikes, when everything falls apart, when you are left with nothing but your will, discipline will be there to carry you forward. Discipline is not just a tool, it is the weapon that will rebuild your strength and make you unshakable. Sacrifice today creates freedom tomorrow, because every dream, every goal, every vision of the life you want has a price attached to it, and that price is sacrifice. Most people want success without cost. They want comfort without effort. They want luxury without discipline, but life does not work that way. You pay first, you bleed first, you grind first, and only then do you taste freedom. Sacrifice is not punishment. It is the investment into the life you desire. It is the law of exchange. If you want greatness, you must give something up. Time, comfort, sleep, entertainment, short-term pleasure. These are the currencies you trade for power, wealth, respect, and freedom. Sacrifice is the gatekeeper that separates those who only dream from those who actually achieve. Everyone wants freedom, but only a few are willing to endure the chains of sacrifice to earn it. Think about it. Freedom is not just about money or status. It is about control over your own life. The ability to wake up when you want, go where you want, provide for those you love, and stand strong without depending on anyone else. That level of control is not given, it is earned. And the earning requires you to sacrifice comfort today. You cannot party every weekend, sleep till noon, waste hours on distractions, and expect to build a life of freedom. Every choice you make either builds your prison or builds your escape. Sacrifice is the tool that breaks the bars. When you give up the easy path, when you deny yourself temporary pleasure, when you endure discipline instead of indulgence, you are buying your freedom piece by piece. Sacrifice hurts. But that is the point. It hurts because you are letting go of the weaker version of yourself. Every time you say no to comfort, you are saying yes to strength. Every time you sacrifice fun for work, you are saying yes to progress. Every time you give up laziness for effort, you are saying yes to freedom. Weak men see sacrifice as loss. Strong men see it as investment. Weak men complain about what they must give up. Strong men focus on what they will gain, and what you gain tomorrow will always outweigh what you sacrifice today. Freedom is built on the pain of delayed gratification, the courage to suffer now so you can thrive later. Look at history. At every great man who built empires, fortunes, legacies, they all sacrificed. They sacrificed their time, their energy, their youth. They sacrificed comfort. They sacrificed sleep. They sacrificed being average. And in exchange, they became legends. Meanwhile, the ones who avoided sacrifice, who chased pleasure, who wanted everything easy, remained slaves. Slaves to debt, slaves to weakness, slaves to mediocrity. Sacrifice is the dividing line. You either pay the price of discipline today or the price of regret tomorrow. Regret is heavier. Regret changes you for life. Sacrifice is temporary pain that opens the door to permanent freedom. Understand this. Sacrifice is not forever. You are not giving up joy forever. You are delaying it. You are not cutting pleasure out of life. You are postponing it until you have earned the right to enjoy it without consequence. Sacrifice today is trading cheap thrills for lasting fulfillment. The man who sacrifices weekends of laziness for years of hard work builds a life where every day feels like a weekend. The man who sacrifices spending money on worthless things invests into assets that buy him freedom for generations. The man who sacrifices temporary comfort builds permanent strength. Sacrifice multiplies. It is never wasted. Every hour, every choice, every ounce of energy you give up today will return to you tomorrow with interest. But sacrifice is not just about work. It is about focus. It is about cutting off distractions, cutting off toxic people, cutting off habits that drain you. Sacrifice is the art of saying no to the easy path, to the tempting trap, to the weakness inside you. You cannot have it all. You must choose. And the choices you make today define the freedom you have tomorrow. You either sacrifice for your vision or you sacrifice your vision. There is no middle ground. Freedom is not built in comfort zones. It is carved in sacrifice zones. When you wake up before the world, when you train while others sleep, when you work while others waste time, you are stacking bricks of freedom. People will not understand. They will laugh. They will mock. They will call you obsessed. But when the time comes and you live free while they are chained, they will realize sacrifice was the price they refused to pay. The truth is simple. Suffer the discipline now or suffer the regret forever. So sacrifice today. Sacrifice your excuses, your laziness, your distractions. Sacrifice the nights out, the endless scrolling, the meaningless pleasures that add nothing to your future. Embrace the grind, embrace the hunger, embrace the struggle, because every drop of sweat, every hour of focus, every sacrifice you make is building a tomorrow where you do not answer to anyone but yourself. Sacrifice today creates freedom tomorrow, and freedom is the ultimate victory. It is worth every tear, every missed party, every lonely night. Because when freedom arrives, you will realize the sacrifices were never losses. They were the down payments on the life you always wanted. Rebuilding is not returning, it's reinventing, because life doesn't give you the option to go back. Once you've been broken, once you've faced failure, once the storm has stripped away who you used to be, there is no return ticket to the past. The person you were before no longer exists, and trying to become them again is a waste of time. Rebuilding is not about patching up old wounds and pretending nothing happened. It's about creating a new version of yourself so powerful, so sharp, so unstoppable that the old version could never even recognize you. Reinventing means using the ashes of what was destroyed as the foundation for something greater. It means you don't just rise, you rise differently. You rise with scars that remind you of battles survived, with wisdom that pain carved into your soul, with strength built from carrying weights you thought would kill you. Reinvention is the act of saying, I am not who I was, I am more. People make the mistake of chasing their old life back. They want to get back to normal, to recover what was lost, to feel safe again. But normal is what broke you. Normal was weak, normal was unprepared, normal couldn't withstand the storm. Why would you want to return to the very version of yourself that failed? Rebuilding is about evolution, not repetition. When the world knocks you down, it is forcing you to level up. You cannot repeat old patterns and expect a new life. Reinvention is about creating habits, mindsets, and standards that the old you never even imagined. It is about becoming unrecognizable, even to yourself. That's why rebuilding is not returning. It's reinventing. Reinvention demands sacrifice. You cannot reinvent yourself while clinging to the same comforts that kept you soft. You cannot step into a higher version of yourself while dragging along the dead weight of excuses, laziness, or weak habits. Reinvention requires you to burn the bridges to your old life, to cut off the behaviors, the people, the distractions that held you back. Sacrifice today creates freedom tomorrow, and that freedom is the ability to live as the new you, not chained by the mistakes of the past. Every sacrifice is a declaration. I am done being who I was. I am becoming who I must be. Sacrifice is the fuel of reinvention, and the price you pay today is nothing compared to the life you will create tomorrow. Reinventing yourself means embracing discomfort. It means walking into unknown territory, learning new skills, pushing past your limits, and facing fears you used to run from. Reinvention is not a gentle process. It is violent. It is painful. It is raw. You tear away the old skin, and it hurts. You break old identities, and it feels like death. But only through that process can the new identity emerge. Strength is not given, it is forged, and reinvention is the forge. The world will not hand you a better life. You have to invent it. You have to create it with your blood, your sweat, your focus, and your sacrifice. Understand this. Returning to the old you is failure. Reinventing into the new you is victory. The man who rebuilds but tries to return will always fall again because he never evolved. The man who reinvents becomes unstoppable because he has adapted. Life is not about survival. It's about adaptation. Reinvention is evolution by choice. It is choosing to leave behind who you were, even if that version felt comfortable, even if people around you liked that version better. Reinvention often means standing alone because many will not understand the new you. But their understanding is irrelevant. You are not rebuilding for them. You are reinventing for you. Sacrifice today creates freedom tomorrow, and that freedom is the ultimate reward of reinvention. When you sacrifice the old version of yourself, you set yourself free from your own chains. When you sacrifice comfort, you free yourself to discover strength. When you sacrifice pleasure, you free yourself to earn power. Reinvention is freedom because it gives you control over who you are becoming. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the architect of your own destiny. Freedom is not just about money or time. It's about identity. It's about being free to look in the mirror and see a version of yourself you built with your own hands, a version no storm can break again. So never aim to return. Don't pray to go back. Don't wish for the old days. They are gone for a reason. Aim to reinvent, to rise in ways the old you never could. Let the world see a version of you that is sharper, tougher, wiser, more disciplined, and more dangerous than ever before. Rebuilding is not returning, it's reinventing. And every sacrifice you make today is carving the freedom that new version of you will live tomorrow. The pain, the effort, the struggle, it is not wasted. It is the price of transformation. Pay it without hesitation because what you are building is not just a recovery, it is a rebirth. A rebirth into someone unrecognizable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. The power to rise is already inside you, buried beneath the doubts, the excuses, the fears, and the lies you've been told about yourself. You were not born weak. You were not born broken. You were not born incapable. Life tried to convince you otherwise. People told you what you could not do. Failures whispered that you were finished. Pain screamed that you weren't strong enough, but deep down, underneath all of that noise, there is a fire that has never gone out. That fire is the power to rise. It has always been there, waiting for you to stop looking outside for answers and start looking within. Too many people search for someone to save them, for circumstances to change, for luck to appear, but no one is coming. There is no rescue team. The hero you're waiting for is you. The moment you accept that truth, the moment you stop begging life to be easier and instead decide to become stronger, everything changes. The world will try to convince you that you are powerless. Society tells you to play small, to conform, to stay in your lane. It wants you weak, dependent, and distracted. That is why most people never rise. They believe the lie that their strength is somewhere out there, hidden in someone else, in some miracle, in some perfect timing. But the truth is, everything you need to rise is already inside you. It doesn't matter if you're broke, if you're alone, if you've been knocked down 1,000 times. Inside you lives a force that can rebuild, reinvent, and dominate. That force is not given to you by anyone else. It is yours by birthright. Think about the hardest moments of your life, the days you thought you couldn't survive, the nights you felt completely broken. Yet you're still here. That means the power was always there. You didn't collapse permanently. You endured even when you didn't believe you could. That is proof that the power to rise is not something you need to acquire. It is something you need to awaken. Too many people live asleep, numb, chained to weakness. They walk around unaware of the giant inside them. But when life knocks you down, when pain crushes you, when failure breaks you, that is the alarm clock. That is the moment when you must open your eyes and realize the strength you have always carried. Rising is not about never falling. You will fall, you will fail, you will hurt. But rising is about refusing to stay down. It is about standing back up every single time, no matter how heavy the weight, no matter how deep the scars, and that ability is already inside you. The power to rise is the decision to fight one more round, to take one more step, to endure one more day. It is built into your soul. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to choose to rise. The reason most people never rise is not because they lack power. It's because they lack belief. They silence their own strength with doubt. They tell themselves, I'm not capable, I'm not ready, I'm not enough. But those lies are chains you put on yourself. Break them. You have survived every battle so far. You have endured storms that would have destroyed someone weaker. You have already proven you can rise because you're still standing. Now it's time to stop crawling and start climbing. The power is there, but you must claim it. Understand this. Rising is not about external circumstances. It is about internal choices. People in worse situations than you have risen higher because they chose to awaken the power inside them. People with less talent, less money, less support have built empires because they refuse to stay down. Your circumstances don't define you. Your decisions do. And the most important decision you will ever make is to rise no matter what. The power to rise is not in the future. It is not in someone else's hands. It is in you right now. Every time you push past pain, you rise. Every time you sacrifice comfort, you rise. Every time you refuse to quit, you rise. And each rise makes you stronger, sharper, more dangerous to the obstacles ahead. Rising is not a single event. It is a habit. It is the constant decision to get up no matter how many times you are pushed down. The more you practice rising, the more unshakable you become. One day, you will look back at all the times you thought you couldn't go on, and you'll realize those were the exact moments you discovered your power. Those were the times the fire inside you burned brightest. And that fire never dies. It is inside you now, waiting for you to stop hesitating and start rising. Stop waiting for the perfect chance. Stop waiting for someone else's approval. Stop waiting for fear to disappear. Stand up, rise now. Because the only thing between you and the life you want is your decision to awaken the power you already carry. The power to rise is already inside you. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. It always has been. You are stronger than you believe, tougher than you realize, and capable of more than you imagine. The world will try to break you, but it can only succeed if you forget who you are. Remember, rise, because the moment you choose to unleash the power within, nothing can keep you down. And now, here you stand, at the edge of who you were and who you are meant to become. Everything you have endured, every scar, every sleepless night, every setback was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to prepare you. Pain taught you strength. Discipline forged your character. Sacrifice bought your freedom. Reinvention shaped your identity. And the fire inside you has always been waiting to be unleashed. You are not broken. You are reborn. The world may try to tell you to stay down, to remain small, to surrender, but you know the truth. You were built to rise. The past is gone. The weakness is gone. The excuses are gone. What stands before you now is not the end, but the beginning. The version of you that emerges from this moment will not just survive, it will dominate. You will rise with power, with purpose, with unshakable resolve. And when the world looks at you, it will no longer see the person who fell, but the warrior who refused to stay down. This is your time. This is your moment. Rebuild yourself, reinvent yourself, unleash yourself, and rise, because nothing can stop you now.